Okay, this is kind of crazy. There are allegations that a professor at a college was engaging in a really sussy relationship with a TA, which stands for teacher's assistant. And by the way, I'm going to be putting trigger warnings right now because we're going to be delving into age gap relationships and DDLG. I will explain that, but trigger warning, it's messy. There was an original tweet that was then deleted of the original Twitter thread that I saw, I think like a day or two ago, but there is this other Twitter thread on October 23rd by Twitter user Starsleeps. A UCF comp sci professor was let go after his TA and girlfriend maybe left Hello Kitty coloring book pages saying happy birthday daddy on his office door, LMAO. And by the way, before I get into this, I do want to say, one, these are all allegations, right? We don't know for sure because I am not the professor, nor am I the girl that is also involved in this scenario. We just kind of have rumors, but I am personally really nosy and I personally really am invested into this drama. So I just wanted to cover this with you guys. Again, these are all allegations. Nothing is proven, right? We don't know for certain. Don't send hate to anybody involved. So this is a photo taken of allegedly them together with this taller person being the CS professor and this other person being the TA. Now, from an article posted on Know Your Meme, and again, I do want to add, we need to double check our sources here. Know Your Meme is more of like a drama page. It could be very questionable, but they do cite their sources, which I like. And the article is titled Hello Kitty Girl and UCF Professor Travis Mead Dating Rumor Controversy. So this is the professor in question. His name is Travis Mead, and he is a CS professor at UCF, or was at UCF. According to this article, it writes that according to his public LinkedIn profile, he was at UCF since 2015. According to his LinkedIn, January 2015, he became a graduate TA and a GRA from January 2016 to December 2017, adjunct instructor from January 2018 to present. But apparently he was recently fired. And in the subreddit UCF, people were asking why was Professor Mead fired? Reddit user Pink Destroyer 10 writes, just curious if anyone knows the actual reason because I've heard a few rumors and I want to know what happened. I really like tea. And Reddit user Mindless Mango 3724 writes, I would be in class and his girlfriend, or it looked like that, was the TA. She would come up to him after class and take his jacket and put it on and just be attached to his hip, but literally never help anyone, even though she was a TA. I'd go to his office hours and he would be busy helping other students, but she would just stand there and not help any of the other students who were also there. It did feel a bit unprofessional, but other than that, I actually think Mead was a great professor and good at his job, so that's a bummer. Reddit user Spiritual Peak 5036 writes, girl with all the rainbow clothes and accessories, right? So there is also an imager with more videos and proof and photos about this potential relationship. People on the internet have pointed out that it's a little bit creepy. There are people just filming a professor and this girl, or this girl going around. And I will say, in context, it can be seen as creepy, but also I'm gonna say too, right? There are also allegations of a professor engaging in an inappropriate relationship with the student. I feel like it's kind of normal for people just to kind of like film it and text it in a group chat with friends and be like, dude, I saw this professor like hold hands with this TA. This is kind of weird. The people who took the videos were doing it for malicious reasons when they took it, with an intent to make like a big expose or something. I feel like these were all like taken and sent to group chats with friends. But this first one shows Professor Mead with the Hello Kitty girl Kaylee. The second one was the one on Twitter where you can see them walking together and they are arm in arm, like she has her arms wrapped around his. Here is another one with Kaylee either entering or leaving his office. I also do want to note the Hello Kitty drawings that are on the door. Another one with Kaylee and Mead together, and note Mead is wearing this cream kind of like cable knit sweater, and then he takes it off and she puts it on. And here is them walking together. He's again wearing this cable knit sweater, and I don't know what he's doing. It looks like he's kind of tying up the back of her dress or something of the sort. And here is a Snapchat post of the course page, and you can see the TA information. Here you have all the TAs and then Kaylee, and Kaylee's name is highlighted in pink, and that's literally what the Snapchat says to you. Why is it pink, man? Everything else is literally just black text on a white background, but Kaylee is highlighted in pink. Thursday, Kaylee's TA section highlighted in pink. Them again walking arm in arm. This one is interesting. So these are two photos, right? Here is a red car, and you can see what looks like a girl with a bow in the back of her head, kind of like leaning over. It's really hard to see because the windows are super tinted. And then here is the back of the car in the Honda Civic, and you can see somebody standing here. We don't know if this is Kaylee and Mead, unless somebody has some sort of verification that this is Mead's car. This This one I feel like would be harder to tell. So there were allegations that Kaylee is sleeping in his office. And so you can see here, this is a video where the people walk by the office door and there is somebody sleeping on the floor. Like here's a foot here, right? And their blanket. We don't know if it's Kaylee. We just know there's somebody sleeping there. And this is a photo of the door. This is interesting. So this is a different photo of the door at a different point in time where there's a Hello Kitty drawing that's colored in. And it looks really innocent at first, right? Maybe Mead has a kid and like a daughter and she drew this on the door. Calc homework. And you can see here, I can't read the last name, it's in cursive, right? There's a calc that is written in cursive with Kaylee's name on there, and it's like the 24th of January, 2024. That is just taped to the door. And then something like a heart, and I don't know what this says, like I something, like something, something, and then yay. So I guess she got it correct. This is weird. I'm gonna be real. Look, man, if you guys don't know what DDLG is, I'm just gonna read the Urban Dictionary definition to you guys, okay? I actually didn't even know the full abbreviation. I didn't know what the second D stood for. DDLG stands for Daddy Dom Little Girl. It is a relationship in which one person is the caregiver or daddy and the other person is childlike. It is not a relationship between an actual father and daughter or any minor. This is a type of BDSM relationship that may or may not involve sex, but often involves play with childlike things, such as stuffed animals, bedtime stories, and spankings. The LG part of the relationship is often called the little. You can be into whatever you're into, whatever makes you happy. I personally think that when it comes to things like this, which is much more controversial, it's not my cup of tea. I am not into that. That is stuff that you should leave behind closed doors. If you take it into the real world, be very discreet about it. You know what I mean? There are some things that should be kept behind closed doors, and in my opinion, that's one of them. Do whatever you need to do, whatever makes you happy, as long as you don't hurt other people and it's consensual. Look, I feel like it becomes like a weird fetishy thing when you start flaunting it by taping it onto your door when there's other students there. That is just what's creepy to me. Because again, you are into whatever you're into behind closed doors. Do whatever makes you happy. But he is engaging in a BDSM relationship with a TA, allegedly. And by the way, a TA stands for teacher's assistant. It means that he is her boss. Typically, in order to TA for a class, you have to have taken that class. So that means that you have at some point had a direct relation with that professor. You've been their student, or you were a student in that class that they taught. Maybe they weren't directly your professor, but they were a professor in this class, right? I went to a really big college. I went to UC Berkeley. So I took a CS class, right? And I had a TA. My boyfriend actually was the TA for that CS class. We were already dating when this happened. So it was like, whatever. But again, he's a student. I'm a student. Not a big deal, right? It's inappropriate to be a professor and date your TA. That means you are dating your subordinate. You are dating a student, because to be a TA, you are a student. There's a power dynamic. It's an inappropriate relationship. Allegedly, they were dating. We can't prove for certain, right? We don't know. But I think with the photos with their arms linked like this, we can pretty much tell. And I also think it's weird. The professor is just flaunting this BDSM relationship to his other students because this stuff is taped on the door going into his office. Like, people are going to know. Do you think people are stupid? The students are going to open the door to the TA office and be like, wow, why does it say Kaylee on here? And oh, coincidentally, there's a girl sleeping on his floor and she's also Kaylee, who is also his TA, but also coincidentally doesn't really do any TA work whatsoever, just is like loitering around. I just think it's weird to be imposing that, not, I guess, intentionally, not like actively imposing it, but to have that just kind of like flaunted there in front of your other students for your class. That's just weird to me. Just do it behind closed doors, man. And here's the other photo. Here's the other photo of his door. So as we can see here, room number 239A, Travis Mead, instructor, Department of Computer Science. Let's look at these other Hello Kitty drawings. And I really do want you to note the childlike handwriting that is used here too. Kaylee, smiley face. Happy birthday, daddy. But the P's are backwards. I love you. But the E is also backwards. Happy 43rd birthday, daddy. But it's spelled D-A-D-D-I-E. And it looks like something is written along the side here too, but I can't really read it. And then there is the other Hello Kitty drawing. This is, I guess, the newer version because it wasn't all ripped up. Like in the first photo we looked at, right, the pages were torn at the sides, but at least this is the more newer version. Having this taped up on your door where your other students can see it. Like, to me, this is like treading into the whole Kanye and Bianca situation, where it was also kind of like, it felt like a power display where he got off of flaunting this in front of other people type beat. This is giving me the same vibe. Do whatever you want behind closed doors. And the thing is, he is a professor in an environment with other students. That's why this is weird to me. Here's another photo of them kind of eating together. together or sitting together on campus. Going back to the thread though, Star Sleeps adds losing it. And here's a screenshot. Now, again, because the name is censored, we don't know who is who. We don't know whether this is Kaylee or not, right? But Redacted says, with us, my Melody profile photo, ... I can't take it anymore. I just can't. Connor says, all right, chill. And Redacted says, we never dated. That's enough. Connor says, we know now, and that's a narrative going forward. Redacted says, I am engaged. Look, we don't know if this is true or not, right? We don't know if that's even Kaylee. That could be a completely fake screenshot. We have to be skeptical out here when we're looking at things. And again, we don't know if they're dating or not. But we do know that there is multiple Hello Kitty drawings being like happy birthday daddy colored in, taped onto his door with her name Kaylee written on it. And she also happens to be a TA. And they are seen walking together arm in arm. Like, correlation doesn't always prove causation, but there's some things that you can't deny. And there's a little bit too many photos going on out here. Star Sleeps continues, I was a TA at UCF and I remember them very clearly outlining that staff cannot date undergrad students and staff can only date grad students if they aren't in classes with and working for them. And I guess now I know why, LMAO. Being a TA is not the same as being a graduate TA, okay? A TA is undergrad, graduate TA is graduate school, going for a PhD or something like that. Jack Sweeney writes, this is the professor I had for CS1 a few years back. I've seen them together before. Star Sleep says, OMG Jack Sweeney in my Twitter post. A guy in the sprawl says, I don't get it. Aren't they both adults? And Star Sleeps adds, professors aren't allowed to have relationships with their students, even if they are both adults. And that's the thing. The thing is, if you are a TA, you have been a student in this class. And Daniel says, if they're TA, aren't they not the professor's student? Not saying it's not weird, but that's a pretty important distinction. Star Sleep says she's not in the class, she is an assistant, but she could have him for grad classes or be doing research under him. Daniel says, true, it is intuitively still weird, but it might not be against the rules technically, so remedies would still be limited. And Draculina writes, TAs often work directly under professors in their department, and I'd argue the power imbalance may be worse. TAs can be offered discounted tuition and other compensation for their roles. If she reported under him, there's a chance he could directly influence those aspects. And yeah, from my experience, okay, my boyfriend was a TA in a CS class. I went to a different college, right? I went to UC Berkeley. It's a large college though. The way the TA system worked at Berkeley, from my memory, is that you had to have taken the class to then TA the class. So the TAs are chosen from previous students. You have the chance to apply, whatever, right? So there is a possibility, depending on how many professors there were for the CS1 class or whatever class she was TAing, for him to actually have also been her professor at some point. There is that possibility there, number one. But number two, I would still argue that a TA and professor dating relationship is not appropriate, for the reason that TAs actually are quite involved with the professor in many ways. And the professor holds a power over you as the TA, right? You are their subordinate. You report to them, depending on how the structure works in your school. So the way I look at it, it's not appropriate for a professor to date a student under them. It's also not appropriate for a professor to date a TA that is also under them. So that to me is just, it is what it is. Like, the DDLG relationship is a whole separate thing. I just think the professor dating a TA is already not appropriate on its own. And the whole thing is like, couldn't you, I don't know, right? Like, can't you find somebody else? Or did you have to go for a TA? You needed to date this student. Like, you had to. Dr. Sassy writes, for extremely good reason. The amount of power a professor would have over a student is inappropriate, and the likelihood of a highly unethical behavior, prioritizing or sabotaging, is higher. Not to mention, with kindness, college students seem like older teens to most of us. Eclipse says, every relationship has difference in power dynamics. What if only one of them works? Would the relationship not be allowed since one of them would have monetary power over the other? Star Sleep says, damn, it's almost like that's an entirely different situation to a professor knowing his university doesn't allow relationships with students and dating one anyways. And we have apparently the Discord. This is confirmation from Kaylee that they are the Hello Kitty girl. They write, hi, can I just say I'm the Hello Kitty girl you guys keep talking about? I have been sobbing over these rumors for a week. It's impacting me in class. I literally can't live. And here's Connor saying, uh-oh. And she says, there's a person at the end of these harmful rumors. And she writes, Dr. Mead left because he had a great position lined up that needed him immediately. I'm so done hearing anything else. ... I can't take it anymore. I just can't. Connor says, all right, chill. And Kaylee writes, we never dated. That's enough. And this is more information. Like, we already read this, right? Connor says, we know now, and that's the narrative going forward. And Kaylee says, I am engaged. And Kaylee says, no more talk about this. Please stop spending rumors about me. No, I'm effing begging you guys. Leave me alone. Stop calling me a Hello Kitty girl. Stop saying I dated my professor. And again, we don't know if the dating rumors, these are all rumors at the end of the day, right? Whether they dated or not is up for debate. She says she didn't, and they weren't together. So maybe they just didn't date, but she just made Hello Kitty drawings for him, right? Maybe that was a scenario that happened. There is also this post as well. And again, these are all rumors at the end of the day. There are some screenshots of Discord messages from an account that looks to be hers, right? But this was posted on the 24th, where it says, "Look here, losers, Hello Kitty girl at UCF. I've known about her for a while now. She's a Russian American with bipolar disorder engaged to her professor, former professor now. Yes, she's engaged to him. Everyone thinks she's cucking her fiance, which is actually him. Several months ago, she threatened to report her fiance to the school authorities during a breakdown. She's been lying to her peers about never dating him while literally being engaged to him. Anyways, just wanted to clear things up. Take this as you will." So we can see it is the same My Melody profile photo with the Russian name. This is anywhere between April 18th. All these messages were on April 18th. And they write, "And I was ruining them by possibly breeding with a balding bird beak nose F who can't shower. Typical CS major who smells like fat person with mildew growing between his rolls." Oh, that is vile. That's what she said, bro. "Effing bald-headed loser who got his D wet only because of the power imbalance he had over a student and on top of it, a mentally ill one. I want to be ninja? Guess so, because he's not going to have a job after I told the school about him dating a student. No way he's getting approved for a loan. Do with this information what you will." And we have this post made by Twitter user Duran, who writes, "I'm the OP of the 4chan thread. The one photo that people claim is her fiance is actually her ex, who allegedly got arrested for CP. She's actually been engaged with me since December, I think." And photos of them together. We don't know how true any of this is. This bro can be making it up. I don't know where they yanked these photos from, but they could be straight making it up, right? And Grumpy writes, "Where did she post these pics? How did you get them?" Duran says, "I've known her for a long time. I'm friends with her. She blacked out her Discord yesterday and everything. I highly doubt they'll ever figure out who I am." So we don't know how true any of these are, right? This is crazy rumor stuff that's been going around, but I got really invested into this, so I kind of wanted to compile everything together. And again, these are like, again, little threads, things like this on the internet. Take everything you see with a grain of salt on the internet at the end of the day, and please don't send hate to anyone. This is just somebody's relationship, potentially started on inappropriate means that is a little bit sus, but it is what it is. So if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like to subscribe, and I do stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. I hope to catch you guys there or in another video.